very exciting to be here with you again in this month's edition of the Chat with the Professionals. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, Faith, you can hear.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Faith Amadara, and I'll be your host for the November edition of the Meet and Chat to the Professionals. The Meet and Chat to the Professionals is a monthly program anchored by the Finance Business Partners. The Finance Business Partners is a community of accounting and finance professionals dedicated to changing the narrative of the finance profession. In this month's edition, we are discussing a very important topic, which is essential for finance professionals. We are discussing developing transferable skills as a finance professional. To do this, we have invited not just the finest finance professional in the industry, but also a distinguished and result-oriented person. Mr. Sheon Idowu is our guest speaker for today. Mr. Sheon Idowu boasts a proven track record in modeling for structuring investment opportunities that drive essential business decisions. Professionally, Mr. Sheon has served in various capacities at different organizations, and today he is very ready to share with us all that needs to be shared about developing transferable skills as a finance professional. During the course of the meeting, if you have questions or contributions, kindly use the chat box as Mr. Shin would attend to all questions diligently. Also, if you are not a member of the Finance Business Partners and you'd like to be a member, kindly watch out for the chat box as well, as the links to join our various social media platforms will be made available. Moving on, if our virtual hands are not too busy, let us give a round of applause as we welcome Mr. Sheon Idowu. Thank you very much.
Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really do appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. Thank you so much for the coordinators of the forum. I'm really excited about the good work that we are doing for the forum. And then I believe it has really strong strategic impact in the finance professional world at large. All right. So I don't know if I'm able to share. I just prepared a few slides so as just to help our chat. I don't believe this is going to be a chat. I don't know if you can hear me very well.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So this is going to be a chat more like it. We can have questions in the chat box. And then we can, as I'm just presenting or just talking through it. Basically, it's a very interesting topic. And generally, it's because I've also seen how these things are very important in the life of, finance professionals. So if you allow me, I have a small slide for this. Okay. All right. Okay, so generally, I don't know if this shows very well. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
It doesn't seem like it's moving from my side. Is it moving?
So, just go.
Okay.
It's moving now.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I think I can't do a slide show. I don't know why, but I will just try to manage this. All right. Basically, I think this is it's weekend, and I mean I won't want to waste a lot of our personal time. All right. So it's a sacrifice to really join calls like this, just to still talk about knowledgeable matters. When we have personal time to spend. So basically, the topic is actually developing transferable skills as finance professional. And then it is very important as finance professional that we are actually the core of, every business, is like I always say. But one important thing is that we tell the stories of the business generally. And then our trainings as finance professionals, as accountants, either chartered or not, is tailored towards understanding every businesses. We receive a very, very broad training as accountants, and then we are meant to then use these skills, for every business. It's because these skills are very useful in every business that we join. Personally, for me, one of the things I tell people, or when I'm probably interviewing, one of the things I try to pride myself in is to always tell people that I'm a dynamic finance professional and a chartered accountant. And that simply just means that finance speaks the same language across all businesses, across all industries. However, there are uniqueness to the businesses that anyone is involved in part time, but the languages are the same thing. And the reason why you can confidently come out and say that, yeah, these things are the same thing is because there are some certain soft skills and some other, hard skills that finance professional possesses that allows them to transverse different industries and different sectors. A brief background about myself is I've worked in different industries, from the fintech industry to the startup world in the fintech space, and also I moved to oil and gas downstream. It was a serious end, at that point. But one of the things that was really cool was the fact that it's the same language. It's just you understanding what is peculiar about this business and what is peculiar about this business. The thing is that everybody sells and everybody buys. Debit and credit is the same thing everywhere. So that knowledge gives me understanding to move from a technology company to a oil and gas company, from there to a production manufacturing company, from there also to the healthcare industry, from there to an e-commerce company, from there to a production company again, and all of that. So, but there are uniqueness to the skills that you take into those industries that still make you relevant. Obviously, we hear stories about people talking about, oh, this person should have worked within this industry for certain years and all of those things. But I say there are always exceptions to those things when you are able to demonstrate certain skill sets that makes you, useful to any organization that you are looking to go into. And the reason I'm really emphasizing on this background is the fact that a lot of us strive or want to go into the big entities while we're starting our career, right? i.e. the big fours. Those entities allow you to understand different sectors. But how many of us can have those opportunities? That is why this is very important. All right. So generally, I'll just talk briefly on a few things. What are transferable skills, generally for us? And we'll talk about what are the transferable skills for all professionals. Generally, these are things that everyone outside of the finance and accounting profession needs to have. What are the ones that are specific to us as finance professionals? We have to be selfish about this because we are very key to every organization. So let's talk about the one that is specific to us that we need to work on. And I'll just share with you. These things are robust, like I said. They are just the combination of my experiences over time, research and findings, and all of that. And then we'll talk about why are these skills really important to us, and then we will then talk about how do we learn or how do we develop these skills. So first is talk about what are transferable skills. I'm going to make it very practical. There's no need for us to make these things a bit complex for ourselves here, and it's just as simple as they are just skills and abilities that can be applied to any job and any industry. That's just plain and simple about transferable skills. Any job, any industries, these skills are applicable in those sectors. That is what it is. So if you, as a project manager, an accountant, a business developer, there are some of these things you have that you can take to any place, and then you apply those skills by even understanding. All you need to just understand as a smart person is understanding the terrain of work around that environment. what that is also, they are valuable assets in the job market that makes individuals, to you're able to further your career in different sectors, and you're able to adapt to the changing job market. Plain simple, just for you to be able to adapt. There are skills that are required for you to be able to adapt. Some of us might are people that maybe you get tired when you're in a place for 3 years, for 5 years. You want to try something new. Some people are very spontaneous that way. You just say, oh, I need to try something new. And then once you are able to accept that you have these skills in you, it gives you the comfort of trying to step out of your comfort zone in that sense, so as to be able to then do things that will make you happy. You're able to break new grounds. You're able to explore new information and all of that. I tell people that industry knowledge is very, very good, but they are always available part-time. There are ways you can get industry knowledge. You can get the things that happen in certain industry. Of course, I really give it to industry experts, that people have been there and they just been in the industry to really focus more. But career-wise, some people might want to try something different and they might be scared of it. And that's because they've not been able to understand that they actually have the skills for them to be able to try something different and just sit where they are. All right? And there are skills that offer employees competitive advantage. For you, someone talking, or you want to change your career and all of that, someone wants to test your ability to understand what they are doing, where they are. And that is very, very important, or what sets you apart. We then talk about, and these are some of the things we talk about, as a learner, I learn fast, I grow fast. As accountants, they are those adaptable, character that we have that can really, really distinguish us among other people. To say that, finance is finance. It's just for me to understand how you buy your product and how you sell, how you produce your product and how you sell, and how do I integrate that into finance. It's basically simple. The financial statement is not changing for any organization. It's revenue, cost to sales, OPEX, and all of those things that we do, But your ability to change, your ability to then say, I can change, I can move, all of those things are the things that gives you a competitive advantage in the job market, and can give you that skill set for you to be able to apply for a variety of different roles. There are some roles today that some finance people, they know within themselves they cannot apply for it. And it's because they have just been boxed into a particular aspect of finance. And what we are supposed to do and expose ourselves to is that as finance, you are meant to be broader. And that's what this Skills is talking to us today, that you have access to this. One thing I know is that a lot of finance people, we have access to this skill set. However, we have not been able to harness, that skill set as much as we can. We sit in the center of the business where data are flowing in. All the informations of the businesses are flowing in. We are meant to harness that information for our next career growth. Rather, we try to box ourselves. We see, people just sitting on receivable, payable, and all of those things, where you are able to bring out some other things around that work and look at every aspect of the business that you're working with. I will say this, and I probably say this with a bit of caution, is that, the world has moved from where accountants box themselves into, I'm a receivable accountant or I'm a payable accountant. I understand that when we start our career, that's how we will start, from just, doing one thing, but it has moved from there, right? It has really moved from there. So that's just me just talking about what these skills are really, really about, right? That's what these skills are really, really about. Second, now is just talk about what are these skills for all professionals. And let's just break it down. I'm not going to really talk or dwell so much on these skills for all for all professionals generally. And if we look it up, we'll see different transferable skills that every professional in different sector and different industry is meant to have. One of it is actually, so I'm trying to do a slideshow and it seems like it's not showing. Is it doing a slideshow now? Omodara, can you answer that? It's not doing a slideshow on my side.
No, it is not.
Okay, I don't know why. Sorry, let me try and do. I don't know if I had a setting that is causing this. I don't know if this works. Okay, let me try. Let's try this. I think this works. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think this is a bit better.
Yeah, it is working now.
Okay. All right. So, talking about it generally, right? Yeah. What are the things that people have? People talk about you should have leadership and management skills. You should have communication, verbal or written. Even body language is a communication. We should have all of that. Critical for every employee or any career person is to have a problem-solving skill. Is to be analytical in their thinking, to be creative, to be innovative, as well as to have good time management and organizational skills, right? Which these things are general. We've been taught all of these, here and there, and these are things that are actually transferable across every business that you work in. Whether you are growing within a particular industry or you're moving from one industry to another, these skills are needed for you. They are just different from your real technical skills that you need to possess, which basically we all know that they are really important. Technical competence for every professional is quite important, but talk about teamwork and collaboration. You're going to definitely work with people. Talk about interpersonal skills. You're definitely going to work with people. Talk about emotional intelligence. You're definitely going to know that, right? Attention to detail, quality control. All of those things are things that are important, transferable skills for every professional. And I believe probably we have a mix of different professionals on this forum. We cannot, start breaking this down bit by bit, but just looking at it top line, we can easily tell that these are the necessary qualities for every professional for them to grow in their career. So we're not going to be talking about, what do you know about, the real technical stuff about the cocoa of that particular, job and all of those things. Yeah, so I haven't spoken about that really. Let's now break it down and just bring it home to accountants, right? What do we as finance professionals, chartered accountant, what are the skills we definitely should actually have? 101, definitely, we are all accountants. We should have the basic accounting knowledge, right? Understand what the principles are, what the laws are, what the regulations are, and all of those things. This is necessary because the principles are the same everywhere. The laws are the same everywhere. The financial statement preparation is the same everywhere. The nuances of that particular sector is what differentiates from one business to the other. Even if you're in the same sector, there are nuances about a particular business and there are nuances about a particular business that will definitely be different. But the principles are the same thing. It's the same tax laws everyone is applying everywhere they go. So key is basic 101 is have good accounting knowledge. You cannot trade that for anything as a finance professional. Ensure you know your onions, you know your records, you know everything as regards this accounting that you're doing. And that's why I say that how do you hone these skills really as accountants is try to broaden your knowledge of accounting. you sort of say, oh, you're just doing payable. You need to understand that, okay, you're doing payable. Obviously, you're dealing with operating expenses in that sense. How are you harnessing? What other things are you doing rather than just process payment vouchers and all of those things? There are other nuances to you doing that thing. There are other things that other values you can add to that process than just saying you're just processing and you're posting. When I started off, I look at it from the financial statement and I say, what is my contribution in this financial statement? And I try to understand. And that way it makes me understand that I'm part of a financial statement, irrespective of whatever thing I'm processing. I can even go to the financial statement and always say, this is my figure in this financial statement because I did all the work that brought about that figure in that financial statement. That way you start seeing yourself in the financial statement, start seeing yourself preparing the financial statement of that company, rather than just box yourself to just a routine task in the business, right? These are very, very good because this expertise can be beneficial in consulting, right? A lot of us might not have the opportunity to work in consulting companies where we have different industries or different things coming together. But once you understand these laws, there are other consulting work that can come your way that you're able to apply these principles to. And it will always seem as if you already understand what they are doing in that sector because you know how to ask the relevant questions that addresses the general principles of every businesses. All right? So that is it. Second thing I want to talk about skills that is very, very essential as finance professional is our financial analysis skills. These are skills that are applicable everywhere. You cannot even trade that for anything. Accountants needs to move beyond just looking at accounting records or postings to really going down into analyzing data. I always say that we accountants are the ones that has the gold mine of data, right? We are the ones that sit in the gold mine of data because we have all the information. How you are able to analyze it, your Excel skills to be able to interpret financial results, to prepare forecasts and budgets, to start seeing how we can start modeling simple transactions for the business that can be used for some certain decision making. Oh, they say they want to do this small project. Can you look at it and say, okay, let me look at this project that we want to do. Okay, if we do this project and spend this amount, what's our revenue expectations of this project? How is it going to affect our bottom line? What is the contribution of this particular project to the general bottom line of the business? What are the cash flows that are required? How do we finance this business? Can we finance from our existing business? Do we need to go for debt or what? How do we expect to finance all of this? These are some skills that are not particular to every industry. And you sit on data. I tell people, while I was moving to the oil and gas sector, the financial analysis skills I had in the fintech space, because there are a lot of data in that sector, I must say, helped me easily to get to a oil and gas downstream company. And within 6 months, I'm able to build a robust budget for an entire business as big as that. It's one of the, how will I put it, local oil and gas business in Nigeria. Very big and, robust in asset and all of those things. What is different there? Of course, I came in there, the knowledge, the industry terminologies, but you accountants, we've been trained to understand everything. There's no terminology you want to say. That terminology either means it's a revenue or it's a cost. So give me the terminology, let me understand what it is. And I move on and I apply it to the principle that we already understand. All of these informations, all of these skills has helped you to be able to analyze data for every sector. All right. So that is very important as a second skill that as accountants we should have. The other one I also think we should have as finance professional as a transferable skill that will help us, to grow is communication. I must say that everyone in the finance world, or maybe accountants really, they really struggle with this a lot, in terms of our communication. We are always very data driven. We want to always talk with the numbers. And so sometimes we are speaking too high level to people that we are communicating information to. And the fact is that we talk with different people, but our ability to convey these complex financial concepts to them is very, very important. And that skill can make everyone in every sector very, very indispensable. The ability to be able to break down financial information to non-financial stakeholders are very key. How do you communicate? We've gone beyond the time where we don't send emails. How do you send emails? How do you let them know that, oh, this is the implication of what we're trying to do? Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Not bombard people with, oh, if we do this, it grows by 50%, it grows by 80%, the gross margin grows by, they then just look at it like, oh, okay, I'm a lawyer or I'm a brand and marketing person. What's all of these things saying to me? What are you trying to tell me in all of these things, in all these numbers you're putting together? How does that make sense to me? How do we apply these communication skills? Is very important. There are skills we should have. Communication. We communicate appropriately to the different stakeholders. If you're communicating to your finance colleagues and professionals, this is quite easier. You can always talk about it. But some of us might even have CEOs in businesses that don't understand the numbers as much as we do. How do we break it down? Oh, this is EBITDA. What does EBITDA talk about our business? It says, oh, this is our operating profit. This is the cash we're able to generate from the profit. The person is able to understand that, okay, if this is what we are making in the business, that means that what it is. What is the EBITDA margin? How does the person understand? Well, we tell the person, well, our gross margin is 10%. What does it mean to the person? It means that for it's different you telling somebody who gross margin is 10%, than you telling somebody that for every sale that we make, this is the amount that we make from it. The person quickly understands. So the person knows that if I sell 1 million naira, we are making 10% if I take out all the different attributable costs to that particular sale. It's simple and pretty easy. The person can easily do the math on their head, right? So that is very important. And that leads to the collaboration part of finance. If we're able to strengthen our communication, our collaboration will be very effective and we will get results as finance professionals. What has always been the practice over time is that finance has always worked in isolation. And that is changing right now because now there's a lot of awareness to why finance should be driving a lot of strategic efforts of the business. Because they can look back and see what has been done, and they can look forward and see what could happen to whatever initiative that the business is trying to make. And that comes from collaboration. A lot of data that finances work with, a lot of them do not originate from finance. They originate from different sectors or different units of a business. How you are able to communicate with different units of the business and collaborate with them to get the data that is being churned from their department and make very, very informed decision for the business is a very, very good skill. I tell you, while I was working on the budget for different businesses I work with, you have to work with different departments, HS and E, brand and marketing, legal, HR. You have to sit with every one of them. And that collaboration is very, very key because you're sitting with them, they're sending you their numbers. Some will send you their thing in Word documents. They will send you in different format. You will then interpret all of those things. But for you to be able to interpret it so that they own whatever they have given you, you have to be able to not just push it back to them and say, oh, you need to first of all understand that they don't even have the skill set to give you the information in the right way you want. So therefore, you take it from how they send to you, you work on it, clean it up, and then you're able to then say, okay, this is what it is. And they see it themselves and they own it from that process. That is collaboration. How you're able to talk to every department. Finance work, every department has a link with finance. We cannot escape that. And your ability to collaborate with every department is a very strong and essential skills that makes the environment very, productive for you as an accountant. And that skill can be used anywhere. Collaboration, very, very essential for every finance person. We are gone beyond those era where we will just be, lambasting people, just talking and all of those things. We are now in the era where we communicate, we collaborate, not just say, oh, this cannot be done, or not a cost-cutting era, just like we do before. It's a reason to tell a person, oh, this particular thing we are trying to do, I think it is too high. I think we can find a good deal to do it. You talk from a data angle. And that way, there's a strong collaboration. Anyone that wants to take decisions, they want to come back to you and say, oh, can we work together on this so that we can arrive at something good for the business? That's very key. Time management, very essential for everyone. Our business, for our work in finance, it's timely, right? We need to ensure we communicate and collaborate and present information in a timely manner, because time is money for finance. Time is money. If you do not tell the management, oh, this on time, and you then come back and tell them, oh, this would have happened after the decision has been taken, then that analysis or that report is not really giving us the value that we want. And the world is now in a fast-paced environment that things need to come in on time. Right? Time is very, very important. And time management is very key for every finance person, right? As a skill that we can transfer to any organization or any detail. That's one of the things that people push. It's a skill that everyone should have. But from experience, it has been a skill set that has been pushed to finance and audit professionals. And I just call audit because everybody believes that if anybody is missing an information, finance people and audit shouldn't miss that information, right? That is just the dilemma of our work. But that shows that it is a skill that is relevant in any place that you go to, for you to be able to say, you're able to flag some things out from a numbers angle, right? Very important. I'm trying to move fast because of our time. The last part I want to talk about, the skills that we should have as finance professional, is technology skills. And when I say technology, I'm not saying we should be software developers or programmers and all of those stuff. But I'm saying our proficiency in the technology that is in vogue that can really help us drive decisions in businesses. Now, the world has changed. Finance seems to be the one driving digital transformation in business. Right now, you want to implement any digital innovation now. I know some people will just call developers and they build it. At the end of the day, when finance person comes, it tells you this cannot work, because there are implications to whatever things you're developing. That is even one. However, the relevant technologies that works for finance people, how are we able to harness those things? The ERP that we use, we should be able to understand it. I tell people that I've used different kind of software, and one of the things that helped is because I believed that there's nothing so hard about any software. There's really nothing so hard about any software. We will be trained in it, but once you've been able to navigate, or you click on this, you click on this, you click. It's just the way nobody teaches anyone how to use Instagram. You go there, you use. Some softwares, you can always learn it, right? So every businesses, they might tell you, oh, you must be good in Sage, you must be good in this. The fact is that you've been able to build some level of skill set in some software that are accounting, means that you have the ability to maneuver different softwares. Obviously, I understand there are bigger softwares that requires training. No doubt about that. I've also been in those shoes. But our ability to quickly, you shouldn't be someone that they want to teach you a new software and they're spending weeks to teach you a new software. You should be able to ask questions about those softwares, like, okay, where is this in this application? Where is this in this one? Where is this one? I need this information. If the company is building their own software, you should be able to tell them, okay, I need to get this report from this software. I need to get this report from. If you don't have it, you quickly escalate that this system is actually faulty. That is a skill set. So that you don't go and they're expecting reports from you, and the resources that is available cannot generate such reports. So that way you are able to know and prepare all your reports you need from the systems that the company currently provides for you. So, I mean, that is just we talking about accounting. The other software that are available now, there are some softwares that helps you do your, payment processes. You integrate with each other. The world has moved so fast now that you can integrate your payment processing application with your accounting software, and everything flows with each other. Your ability to be able to link all of that together is quite important as accountants, right? It is very, very, very valuable for you. So, these are just skills that, I think we should talk about, right? That I think is really key for us. And, by possessing these skills, we are able to transition from different roles and industries with ease. And then we are able to make ourselves very, very resilient in the changing job market. The world has changed right now. And I will say that the way the growth in the career path for a lot of people are now is that you might not get the desired growth you want sitting in one company. I say this with no bias. A lot of people might not get the desired growth they want sitting down in the same company. That is, I'm speaking this from experience. So you might also want to look at it that, okay, if I'm in a particular industry and then I believe I have a skill set, and then I'm not getting the opportunity I want in the industry. Maybe that particular opportunity, that particular industry is quite, saturated. Then you then look at it, what can I do to help myself? Can I move to another industry and get a higher position there? Or do I want to wait, and keep waiting till the opportunity shows up? It's a choice really, and depends on how you are able to, how you're able to really express yourself. But if truly you know that, I have the ability to do certain things, why don't I try a senior position in another industry? Because every skill that is required for me to succeed in that role, in that sector, I actually possess it. And these are the skills that we have talked about. All right. So very briefly, we'll just talk about why are these skills important. Like I said, the changing job market is actually very key now, really. You cannot, you might just be somewhere and then, the businesses in Nigeria are actually bleeding. SMEs are the large employer of labor and they are also struggling. So some people might just want to change their job just to get some more things done or just to get a higher position or higher pay. I'm speaking because these are realistic things that happens to accountants, right? Changing job environments, it's very important. It's why these skills, you need to have them because the world has moved. Nigeria is a peculiar country. So you have to, have an open heart, for different opportunities that might come your way. Career advancement also, changing jobs means you want to probably have a career, an advancement in your career. Opportunities might show up, and then you want to be able to take advantage of those opportunities, right? Transferable skills are important because it makes you versatile. You can't even help but to be versatile in different things, You're able to talk about it. If today you call me and say I should come and do a church account, I'll tell you I'll do it. Because what is it? You collect money, you do this. Tell me anything, I'll tell you I do it because I'll ask you the questions I need to ask you. Okay, tell me, how do you sell? How do you do these things? And I'll put it together. Simple, pretty easy, right? So it makes you versatile. And at the end of the day, you have personal growth. Eventually, you discover that you are having job satisfaction. You are discovering that you are meeting different people. You are building relationships. I can tell you the relationships I've built across the places I've worked in, different people, the way people think differently, in different sectors. It helps you to also, grow in your mind and grow your own thinking processes too. And obviously, these skills help you to be employable. Employers want to really see someone that is really adaptable. Change is something that everyone wants to see people that are ready to change. Even if you are coming from one company to another, You don't even know the change that that company is going to. So the employers are looking for someone that even internally, even while even having, if you say you have an industry experience, right? Can you even adapt to the change that the business itself they are looking at having within their business? Can you really adapt to it? You know, a lot of people here, a lot of people will say, a lot of people that probably have gone through maybe software changes before. And if you speak with everyone that has implemented a software change for companies, they tell you that one of the places they spend time on is always on change management, because people are used to the way they do things. They believe, oh, if it's changing, there's a problem. So they are struggling with changing. All right. So that is one thing that employers are looking for, someone that is able to really adapt and is able to solve problems. All right. Lastly, and I said we'll talk about how do we learn or how do we develop these skills. There's no shortcuts to say that on-the-job experience is one way we can actually learn transferable skills. You know, we can't. A lot of us start. I know that maybe we have people that are sort of maybe on the job or they don't have a job yet, but and we'll talk about that really. But the job you're currently doing, you learn a lot of things from it. You learn communication. That's how you know how you're communicating. That's how you know how you're collaborating. That's how you know how you're solving problems within your department and problems within the organization. That's how you know how you work with other team members. And you're able to assess yourself about, okay, how am I working with people? How am I communicating? How are people, you know, what do people think about my work ethics? Or am I professional in what I am doing, right? These are the ways you sort of learn and you start taking note of these skills within yourself. This thing, I would say, they are personal and you have to be very, very intentional with it by understanding that I need to have these certain skills because I'm going to other places. Okay, I could be good in Excel, I'm good at my analysis, I'm good at my reporting. How am I communicating this information? How am I collaborating with people? Am I just getting results and people don't feel like I'm communicating well or I'm not delivering timely results as expected of me in the business, you know, and all of that. Also, the other ways to learn this is by networking. I mean, I love the finance business partner group. You know, very, very interesting group. You know, we could see how a lot of us made their connections I've also made from the group. There are things I've also done on the group with other people. You try and join all of these groups. You know, you meet up with colleagues in industries. You learn new skills. You ask from them. You ask about how they're doing, what's peculiar in the sector they work versus what you're working. These are conversations that you have. If you're having those conversations, you then realize that, you know, everything seems similar, other than the fact that the way they do it, nothing is totally different. All right, networking for accountants is very, very important, and I'm emphasizing on this because a lot of us are always, you know, we sit on the bench, we sit on our seats, and then we, you know, we're not going out. You know, obviously we are back end. We've been seen to be back end, you know, workers in that sense, but we need to sort of do better and try to see how we can speak to other colleagues, especially amongst the professional forums that we all belong to. All right, you know, we can't overemphasize the need for online courses. You know, personal development, that's very important. I tell someone that when I started my career, I didn't go to a formal Excel class. I didn't do that. I'd already learned a lot of Excel things, advanced Excel stuff on my own, before the business even came and did, you know, an advanced Excel training. And that was because, fine, I was on the job, I had stuff on the job, and I'd stay back at work, go online, look at YouTube, watch videos, ask about certain stuff, do it, see that it works, take it back to what I'm doing, and I implement it. Simple. And that's how I was learning, you know, the all advanced Excel stuff that they're doing. All these informations are available online. The people that are training you, they go online and look at it and they come and train you. It's not as if they sometimes even buy some of those resources they used to train. They go online, see how it works, take one or two examples, come to your office, and they teach you all of those things. That's how they learn it. So I tell accountant, learn. You can learn communication, you can learn time management, you can learn leadership, you can learn collaboration. There are a lot of courses. I've talked about the technical skills. Some of these other soft skills that are transferable that we're talking about, they are things you can learn, from online resources, right? And they are all available for us to, take advantage of. The other part is volunteer work. I don't know if I have more. Okay. The other part is volunteer work. I mean, for some of us that feel like, okay, I need to develop myself in certain things, you could have opportunities within the group. You could have opportunities in where you're working or in the community, and you could learn how to, it doesn't have to be financial. It doesn't have to be finance. So when you go to a forum or a group and they need some certain things, you don't have to say you want to apply to be the financial secretary. You might even say, oh, you want to even be the secretary itself. And from there, you learn how to write. You learn how to report. You learn how to write reports and about some certain things. I know we're taught report writing, but somehow we are overclouded by, our analytical skill set that we don't really do our communications very well. So you can volunteer in any place and say, okay, I'm not going to do financial secretary or treasurer. I want to do this one. I want to do that one. And that skills can be used for, your regular job experiences. All right. So that's one way I believe we can learn and develop this skill. The other one is also self-development. We talked about online courses. And this particular self-development is about, personal development books. There are books you can read about time management. There are books you can read on critical thinking, problem solving. All these resources are available. Let's try and be intentional with developing ourselves. And then, this way it revolves around our work. It shows in our work, really, we can really, really improve ourselves by these development books. There are blogs we should be reading, that are very essential. I know we read a lot of financial metrics around the world, around the business, but some of these books are also very essential as finance professionals, and they help us, as we grow on our job, right? So I think I know I've been speaking a lot. I don't know if there are questions on the group, but I will say thank you for your time. And God bless.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shin, for that beautiful, enriching session. Thank you very, very much. So now the floor is open for our participants to ask questions. Please, if you have questions, please can you raise up your hand, or like you could drop your questions in the chat box. If you have questions, okay. So while you are trying to gather your questions together, I have a question for Mr. Shin. So yeah, you said a lot, and like, but I feel like there's this thing they say, there's a difference between being productive and being busy. Yeah, so like there are sometimes that you just like be taking courses, like okay, just take this course, take that course on Coursera, take this one on Udemy, take LinkedIn courses, and you're just taking courses. So like my question is, at what point do you realize that you're actually being busy and not being productive? Yeah, that's my question.
Okay. So I think it's about knowing knowing the reason why you're taking a particular course. All right, and knowing. So if you're taking a course or you're reading something without an objective in mind, then it's not productive, right? So that is one thing that I tell people. So you look at what do I want to achieve from taking this course, and then you say this is what I want to achieve, and then you go for the courses that are related to it. That's where I think that You can be productive with every courses. The world is now filled with different information. That's why you see that people are just taking different courses. I'll give you an example. In the world of when we know this whole data analysis thing, when it all started, I was working then, and then everybody was just doing data analysis. And I was like, see, how is it relevant to what I'm trying to do? It is, but I'm a financial person, I'm a financial analyst. I'm already a data analyst. So you thinking that some people now go, you want to go and learn Python, you want to learn R, you want to learn this one a lot. They are quite important. But you then look at it like, what at a certain data analysis course that you need to take that helps you as a as a finance professional or a financial analyst. Because as a financial analyst, people don't know that they are also data analysts. They just feel like, oh, data analysis is separate. But you are more stronger because you pick a lot of data from the different businesses, you interpret it and you make sense of it than a data analyst that just does graphs and just everybody is just happy with fine, pictorial, and no insight into it. You can do those informations and you can do insight to it. So what I'm saying is be objective or be strategic with whatever information you want to consume. What do I want to achieve? How does this affect my work? Not just that, oh, yeah, there obviously you might feel, okay, I love this. How does this affect my work now? And you go for it. That's why I think.
Yeah, that actually makes so much sense. Thank you very much, Mr. Shem. Also, while Mr. Shem was answering my question, I dropped the link to Mr. Shem's LinkedIn. His LinkedIn profile is giving, yes, it's giving all that he has to give. And also, I dropped the links to the Finance Business Partners social media platforms. So we'll post every day. We'll post enriching finance content. So moving on, please, if you have questions for Mr. Shion, he's ready to answer us. Please kindly raise up your hand or use the chat box if you have questions. Okay, so you can go ahead with your question.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, anyway, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. My question, you talked about transferable skills, and you gave us a list of transferable skills, and you also cited an example when you talked about an account payable, and there are some transferable skills that is needed for an account payable or any other role someone is actually doing. But my question now is, being an account payable and then you have a goals to become a financial reporting accountant, do you get? And of course, payable is related to anything that concerns reporting. And also you mentioned the fact that we need to understand how every roles we work as a finance professional, how it actually impact on financial reporting. So, like for instance, now someone is actually want to take up a role of a financial reporting accountant. So I now want to understand how these transferable skills actually will aid in achieving one's objective. I don't know if you actually get my point.
Sorry, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm hearing you. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Can you mute? Hello? Okay. Okay, I think the feedback is from yourself. Maybe you can answer me when I ask. So what I want to say is that, are you saying that the person is trying to, what's the person trying to do from an account payable role?
No, the person is actually a payable officer currently.
Okay.
So he actually wants to take up a higher role, being a financial reporting accountant.
Okay, so here is what I always tell people, right? um, that your problem solving skills is actually very important in whatever anyone is trying to do. So because what I see is that people do not try to do other things in the business because either they feel like they are not being paid well, or um, they feel like it's too much work. And that's one of the problems that hinders some accountants that are not able to expand their skill set across the spectrum of the financial statements. All right. If you're doing payable accountants, there's nothing that says you can't go and work with those that are doing receivable. There's nothing that says you can't decide to do those that are doing inventory. Because you have a roadmap to be doing financial reporting, you will have to understand everything within the financial reporting, because you're not just reporting only payable in the financial reports. So your ability to then collaborate within your department and say, okay, sometimes you want to sit with your colleagues that are doing receivable. If it's a big organization or people that are doing inventory, you want to understand what you're doing. You want to see how they're doing it. And you also want to go ahead and still look at how this report being prepared currently, and then start working on it. I tell people that I was not preparing financial reports. I didn't wait until I started preparing financial reports or it was delegated to me. I look at whatever it is that they are doing. I prepare on my own. And with that on my own, when I'm talking to people outside, I tell them, yes, I can prepare I can prepare a management account. Even if they call the company I'm working and say, did this guy prepare? They might say no, but I know that I have prepared it myself and I understand how he's doing. Because I worked with everyone, I understand how assets works. I understand how the receivable works. I understand how the revenue works. I understand how everything is put together and how we report everything. And I'm able to understand. So, and you're able to shift beyond your work. And like that's one thing I say. And it's that problem solving skills again that makes you and that collaboration skills that makes you want to really go beyond your normal work so that you can know other skills that you require for your next level. So I will say that it's not like it's difficult. If it's within the organization, you can always talk to people there and say, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do that? Once you understand how everything works together, you are already on your pathway to become a financial reporting manager. But you cannot sit and just say you are doing payable alone, but you have goals of becoming a financial reporting manager without working around all the different units within the finance department. And that takes your ability to change. The way a account payable person thinks is different from the way accounts receivable person thinks. It's so funny in some organization that you can have account payable person doing stuff, and because maybe the way the receivable guys are being treated, everybody's running from the receivable and say, we're not doing this, I'm not going there, or inventory, or maybe they work late. You say you're not going to do it, and you then want to become a financial reporting manager in that organization. It will be very difficult, really. It will be very difficult. So I will say it's, ability to change, to learn, which is very important, and to adapt and to collaborate within your same department. That's very important.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shion. Please, do we have more questions? Um, please, if you have questions, please you could raise up your hand. Okay. I think we have a question from Balok Nishin.
All right. So thanks, Sean. Thanks for this wonderful session. So I think the most part of your presentation, you were highlighting the transferable skills that were not from the technical expertise. So I'm just asking, like, how do you recommend one is able to balance the technical expertise alongside the transferable skills for proper career success of finance professionals?
Okay, well, one thing I would say is that the very, very, very much important part is both are important, but I won't know how to put it. Maybe I'll say 50-50 because you can be very good at what you do, know your onions, know your numbers, know very good, and you're not you don't have good interpersonal skills. It becomes useless, right? So a very, very healthy balance is very important, and that just comes from um, first is know. I'm trying to first is know your work as a finance person. Understand what you're doing. You are not going to trade. I'm not going to tell you. You are not going to trade knowing how to do analysis, how to do your presentation, how to do your financial statement. I will not trade all of that for your ability to then work with other departments. Yeah, we're talking about the effectiveness of the finance department, right? And nobody doubts our technical competence in that sense. And there are forums where there are trainings every day. Those ones are easily gotten. Those ones you can easily learn on your own. Communication, you sort of have to be very intentional about it. That, okay, I want to really learn really how I should be communicating to people. I should be communicating with my team, with the department, with the CEO of the business, how I should be giving them reports, the timings I want to be giving them those reports. Those ones they are secondary, but quite important skill sets that one needs to have. So there's no way you want to create the balance. They are both two essential ingredients that makes a successful finance professional. That's what I would say. So it's not like you want to trade one for the other. You have to have both for you to really be a successful finance professional. And I'm saying this because it is a journey, right? It's not going to be, oh, you know it one day. We'll make mistakes. Everybody have their own weakness. I also someone that sometimes I get pushed by numbers too much because it's flying everywhere, and I'm not able to communicate on time and all of those things. So it's a work in progress. But I will say that the two are very, very. There are two components that makes a successful finance person.
So yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Shin, for that beautiful answer. Please, if you still have questions, we still have time to take questions. But in the absence of no questions, I think we've actually learned a lot. Honestly, like
I think there's a question in the
okay,
chat.
the chat box. Oh, okay. Do you want me to read it out, or you would read it?
Okay, let me see. Okay, says ability to learn other parts of the role in department is what we all have to pursue, which helps us individually. But what if the organization, in a way to minimize costs, decide to lay off the account receivable and add the role to payable? Oh, I don't know. Is this a question, or is I don't, but what if the organization, in a way to minimize costs, decides to lay off the account receivable personnel and add the role to the payable? Okay, so I think, okay, maybe what the question is trying to say is that now these are some of the things that we face as accountants, and then we should also learn from it. Is that we should be able to we should be able to see some of these things as a win for us. And I said it in the first question that sometimes you might have additional role being given to you. I just want to say this, in a clear way, is that sometimes some of these things are how you develop your skill sets, and we understand that, yeah, they might give you some new work, but there are no financial compensation that comes with that new work, you should, if you don't have, if it's a skill that you don't already have, you should also see it as an experience that is needed for you to grow in your career. A lot of people miss out, and people will say we want opportunity, but when things like this happen and it looks like additional work, we don't see the opportunity in that, because now I'm doing payable, the company then adds receivable to my job. What that means is those are the kind of things that gives you a pathway to becoming a financial reporting manager, like the other guys spoke about, because now you have two things you're doing. Someone that does receivable and payable obviously can prepare a financial report, because all those two elements, they largely account for the part that makes the component of a financial report. I mean, even if you're even looking at the income statement on its own, right? Those two elements alone, if you're strong in those things, you are able to manage, you are able to prepare financial reports. So once that is given to you, you should see that as an avenue for you to then say, okay, if I'm doing this too well, how do I move forward and then become a financial reporting manager? And you start from the organization. If the money doesn't come in, then you are able to then say you have the skill set for you to become a financial reporting manager. That's how I see it. I understand the money component is very important to us, but for us to be able to grow, we should look beyond that to get the skills we need for the next level that we want. That's how I sort of see it. I don't know if that answers the question.
Okay, yeah, I think it actually does. I think it does. Please, if you have more questions, you can use the chat box, or you can just put your hands up. We are about rounding off the session. It has been a very exciting and interactive and very engaging session so far. Okay, we have a Mary Temiloluwa is raising up her hand. You can unmute your mic and ask your question. Oh, okay. I think that was okay. Maybe she's having network issues. So please, if you still have questions, okay. Anyawu Emmanuel, please, you can go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think you murdered my name very well. Thank you. So, Mr. Chen, thank you very much for this session. I think it was very insightful, and I really learned a lot from your own experience. So I want to ask, dealing with people is very, it can be very complicated, like very complex. Humans with their whole emotions and all that. Mm-hmm. So my own problem that I have with the workplace, and I think it comes from my own character per se, is the fact that sometimes when I talk to people, it is very annoying that you ask someone to do something and you have to be disturbing. And sometimes I find myself getting very agitated, and it can probably lead to a raising of voices. You get what I'm saying? So, and someone is actually heartbroken or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, and there are other aspects of it in terms of the whole soft skills that you talked about. Mm-hmm. So, what I'm trying to get at is there are times when you get into an institution, and then simply because you don't know better, right? People already have a perception of who you are. So with that perception, you find out that you are not really getting to the place you have to go to, right? Even if you have changed, right? So I want to know, is it possible to change the narrative in an organization that you've gotten into, and then you did not know your left from your right, and you act just the way you know how to act, but then realize that you're not getting anywhere? Is there a way one can change the narrative, or is this the best option? Is the best option just to leave the organization and create a new narrative in a new place where you're getting to?
So are you saying that trying to change from the way you do in another organization is not giving you the results that you want?
Okay. I guess where I'm getting at is when you get into an organization, and probably the way you handle people or the way you do your work, right, you've created a narrative that is probably giving a negative impression of who you are as a person, right?
Okay.
So maybe you're not getting along with most of your colleagues, or your
Okay.
bosses don't think you are clinical enough, or you're not beating the timeline, or something like that. So let's say you now discover that this narrative of you is not giving you the edge that you need to grow in your organization.
Yeah.
So is it still possible? Because I know they say first impression matters most, and sometimes when you give people the first impression, they are never going to get out of that first impression, even if you change. Yeah. So I'm saying, is it still needed for someone to be in an organization that already have an impression of the person to change, or is it better for you to just leave the organization and create a new perspective of yourself?
Okay. Okay. I think I understand you. I think that, in a situation like that, you can always create another. See, you can't live your life by just what people say. All right, people will definitely have an impression about you. You have your own innate. If people that are close to you will then know who you are really. Obviously, people will have. We've all made some first wrong impressions. But if you have changed for yourself. If the person that then is looking at you doesn't see that you have changed, then I think that's the person's problem. But if you have realized that, oh, I am wrong in this angle, if you then take deliberate action and say, okay, maybe that's where you should start from and say, okay, oh guys, I think I am like this, or I could have overreacted. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get some help, or I've gotten some help and I think I've changed. Please, I'm sorry for those way I've behaved to you. And you genuinely say that. And you take steps to ensuring that to really show that you have changed. Either the person believes you or the person works with you with your new behavior, shouldn't be your own concern, right? It shouldn't be your own concern. As long as you have, it will take them time for them to come to that reality, but they will eventually come to it. But you yourself know that you've acknowledged that, okay, I've acted in a way that is not very good, and I think it's wrong, and I've taken deliberate actions to change it. And you start acting that way. Whatever impression they formed in their mind, you should not bother yourself with it first. You should first of all focus on ensuring that change that you think you want to really implement, for those ways you've acted, you are actually acting that way, and then leave it to them. If it's then so toxic that you feel like, if you do that over time and you feel like it's still toxic, I tell you, they might eventually come around, and just feel like, wow, what's going on? This person has changed and all of that, and they'll come around. People change. It's company. Nobody's going to. It's not everybody's, father's land. Everybody will definitely come to terms with, oh, this is. They might come. This is how this person behaves, but they might just see the change over time. So it is the change you are trying to do. You should look at it more about your own personal change. That how I'm behaving before, is it good or bad? Is it good or bad? If it's bad, then you look at it. And you've asked questions, you've spoken to people, what do people think about this? Okay. And you've taken deliberate action, and I'm changing. And you've changed, and you think you're changing, and you're working on yourself. See, you move on, you do your thing, you ensure you're doing what you're doing it right, you learn how to talk to them, you talk to them well. If they refuse to change, I believe they will change and come around over time. I believe they will. I've been in that sort of situation before. Although I have even been, it's not even about me. I've sort of been in a place that's toxic, and it's the option could be for me to just leave. At some point, if I feel like it was choking enough, But at the end of the day, who am I? If I know that I'm acting in the right way to you, I'm doing my work diligently, I'm being professional. People are saying that I'm not being rude, I'm not shouting. All of those things will definitely change people's perspective about you. But you don't have to bother yourself about whether they've accepted that you have changed or not. You have to accept within yourself that you have changed, and you are acting that change out continuously until they accept it, or yes, whether they do or not. That's what I think.
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, thank you very much, Mr. Shion. Thank you very much for the beautiful answers you've provided to our questions so far. So I was on the lookout for more questions, but I think everyone is satisfied. Like I'm actually I'm very filled. Thank you very much for the knowledge you've shared with us today. Thank you very much. So in the absence of no questions, we will be rounding up the November edition of the Meet and Chat with the Professionals. So if you check the chat box, I just resent the link to Mr. Shion's LinkedIn profile and the link to our various social media platforms so you can join. And yes, thank you very much, Mr. Shio. I don't know if you are not too busy, we can all unmute our mics to say thank you, Mr. Shio. Like he gave us the Sunday evening. So if you are not too busy, please unmute your mics and just say thank you, Mr. Shio.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Shield. Thank you
So thank
so
Thank
you.
you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We hope to host you in another edition of the Meet and Chat with the Professionals. So that brings us to the end of the November edition of the Meet and Chat. Thank you very much, everyone, for giving us your
Thank
evening, and we
you.
hope to see you in the December edition. Yeah, the final edition for the year 2023. Thank you very much, and have a nice week, everyone. Bye bye.
All right. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
bye.